When is the last time you had high level strategic time to think deeply about your business, your strategies that you have in place, how they align with your vision? If you have even just one team member on your team, looping them in, making sure that they understand that you're explaining things in a way that's clear so that everyone on who needs to be on board can understand and be aligned with the common goal and why we're moving towards certain direction. When is the last time you've even been able to check in with yourself and understand why are you doing certain things that you're doing? Why are they the priority right now? Why are you even working in your business? Why are you moving in these directions? And um, what are your goals? Have they shifted? Have you made a business pivot recently? Um, are you still clear on why you're doing what you're doing? All of these questions, and I know there's so many there, but they're really things that come up when I'm working with people. They are often surprised at the depth that they're neglecting to go into on their own with their self reflection time, with their reflection time on their business. A lot of times we focus on those things that really feel like priorities. We might look at financials, on a monthly, maybe quarterly basis. We might do projections. There are different elements of things that kind of bubble up to the top and the surface, things we hear all the time that we feel like we need to be doing as business owners. But the deeper underlying pieces, like clarifying your vision, if you're feeling like something's not right and you feel like you're no longer operating in alignment with your values. Maybe your core values, you've really been feeling like not in integrity in your business, or not maybe in the rest of your life you've been neglecting yourself, your well-being, your health has been on a slow road to decline, and you're not paying attention to that. You're not valuing yourself, as a person, but also as a CEO, as the leader of your organization, and being able to put your best foot forward in your business, but in your life, so that you can actually operate long term and be clear headed and doing what you need to do. There are so many ways that we neglect really being able to put our best foot forward. And so I wanted to shine a light on especially the thought partnership, having thought partnership, because I think that the ways we tend to view thought partnership, or more realistically, accept thought partnership in our lives, in our business, is that we sometimes have a mentor. If we're fortunate, we have a mentor who we really view as a guide, like that we're able to go to pick their brain, to have pieces of what I'm talking about. I have mentors, and I hugely like those relationships are invaluable. But I think what people forget is that a mentor is really someone who has done what you've a goal that you set out for yourself, has done the thing, and they're showing you, this is what I did. Being a coach for years now, what I recognize is that a lot of times with my coaching clients, they did what they're doing, they're making their decisions based on what best suits their needs. The reason why that's important is that so often it's connected to other things in their life. Sometimes I work with someone who's planning to take a leave down the line for one reason or another. And so they're making decisions really intentionally, knowing that in X amount of time frame, they plan to remove themselves from their business. And so they're making decisions with that in the back of their mind. Or sometimes I work with someone who is planning to sell their business, and that's really their long term goal. Same thing, you're making decisions based on that. Um, Other times it's just other personal things. Someone knows they have, a health concern or something that they need to tend to. And so they're kind of making decisions based on, needing to prioritize certain things with their own health and with um, what they know to be true about their own health, or maybe even a family member, like something they know is why they're moving and navigating in a certain way. Without that insight, and people don't lead with that, they don't pull you behind the curtain and show you, like, oh yeah, the reason I'm building my business in this way and why it's best for me is because XYZ and all of these things going on at home and my financial circumstances, and I need to pay back taxes, and they don't say that. But people pick up mentors along their way. And while, like I said, it's invaluable to be able to understand from someone, this is a pathway to getting what you are wanting to get for yourself. This is a pathway to making your vision come to life. But it's only one way. And you have your own set of circumstances, your own relationships that really matter to you that might influence and spill into why you decide to navigate your business a way that suits you best. And they're not always the same. And so when I talk about this high level strategic thought partner time, I think sometimes we get so used to not being the center of attention, not being the core of everything. We get used to more like classroom style curriculum, or even these days, YouTube learning, where you're watching a video, you walk away with a couple of things, you're taking notes, and like as much as it might be, something that's of interest to you, something that's relevant, it's still not specifically about you and what's going on with you, your values, your needs, your life that you're building for yourself. Everything that's unique about you, it's broader than that. And so when I enter a coaching engagement, a strategy engagement with someone, and we are unified towards the mission of making your business run more seamlessly, making your business run more optimally so that you have more time back in your own life for your wellness, to prioritize your relationships inside and outside of work, and to think strategically, to have more time back to worry about your high level vision for your goal, how you're executing on things, mapping out what's going to make the most sense, and also just staying on top of your craft. Going to a conference, traveling to be around your people, in your industry, and you're like challenging yourself to push yourself out of your comfort zone, maybe speaking at a conference, at a summit, whatever it is that's going to like fill you and fuel you, really thinking about making enough space where those other pieces exist, and not just keeping up, not just rolling up your sleeves and kind of like grinding through the day and doing, as much as possible, but constantly feeling behind, not just reacting and setting yourself up so that you're always reacting to the situation, reacting to the client, I'm here to deliver mode, rather than setting the tone for yourself, actually stepping up and being proactive and guiding the direction of how things happen, actually managing situations, not just reacting to them. That's what giving yourself time for strategic high level thinking does. And a lot of times people don't realize until they enter a coaching, a strategic partnership, how much that outside perspective, somebody else asking questions about, what you see for yourself, asking for from a different angle, deep diving into, hey, have you considered this or that? And really expanding the scope of how you're looking at things, how you're chugging along, just doing things for, on your own, but also with the context. That is what takes it to another level, with the context of this is my lifestyle outside of my work. This is my lifestyle outside of my business. This is why this all matters to me. So, with that context, you're really able to do everything that I was describing other business owners do, like build out your strategic operations in a way that is in alignment with what serves the nuances of your life so well. And I think we all really need that. Like, if you're building something, it's one thing to just kind of like pick up pieces along the way or pick up little bits and, oh, like that snippet, like that could apply to me. Sit in, group sessions and workshops and understand like a couple of takeaways that you can finesse to make your own. But really, where is that time that you're prioritizing for yourself where you go deep and you are the center of attention? You are really able to frame things, come up with a plan, come up with not just a couple of steps, but really have, a couple of action steps that are all in alignment with the bigger common goal that you're working towards, and have somebody else really, be spot checking, pushing back, asking questions, like sharing outside perspective with you. I think that it's really invaluable, and I see it in a couple of different ways and a couple of different instances. Yes, in my work as a work-life harmony coach and strategist, when I, see it and have conversations with my mentees, even at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, I see it in a different context. And even when I'm serving in that mentorship capacity, I still encourage people. When they're ready and when they're seeking that, like seek out a coach for you, like the right personality, the right person, who can really support you in that. Because I think that there are just instances, not forever and always, but I think there are times where we need to challenge ourselves to make sure that we have the right strategic thought partners around us. We should always have those, but who are those people going to be? When are you going to pull in, the coach? When are you going to pull in the mentor, a different mentor? What angle are you really seeking the outside perspective from? What's going to be of most benefit and most value to you in your life right now? I could obviously go on and on about this topic, because there's really so much to say about it, and because I think so many business owners are hurting. They're experiencing the deficit in their business, in their lives, really, from not having this role filled in their organization. And it helps move you. It helps to provide more clarity and insight. I almost hate using the word clarity, even because, so many coaches say that. But I hope with the context of everything else I've talked about in this video, it makes sense why, if you're thinking you might want to do something or approach something as kind of your next step, your next project that you're taking on in your business, having this, confidant really in your corner who really like is there to support you in making sure that you're operating in a capacity that sets you up for success, that your decisions are strong and make sense for your business goals, but also your life goals. Hopefully that does make sense why it would help you to have more clarity, and feel like things are really sinking in a way where you're on the right path. So letting go of that feeling of like uncertainty and discomfort, but like you're not quite sure why, that sometimes can settle in when you do just kind of like put your head down and do things, do a lot of things and keep yourself busy. But sometimes we feel like we're busy and it's not really for a common direction. Like you've lost sight of what you're even what the target is that you're moving towards. And even lost sight of how much progress is the progress that you're making meaningful. Are you on track? Are you checking in along the way? Like the strategic thought partner also helps with that, because it's not just you. You're not only accountable to yourself. You're collaborating with somebody else's time, and you know making sure that you're prioritizing. Hey, I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to move the needle in this way. And with the strategic work I do, actually building out things to support that, actually building out systems, actually cleaning, getting your clean CRM up and running, actually getting your email touch points like in a good place where you feel confident, have that removed from your mental load. That all means you walk away with things you're working on. Walking away with things I need to do too. We're checking in, we're touching base, and just it's a collaboration. It's a true partnership for you. And so I want to share all of that because I think that these are all things where it's really hard to understand what you get out of the kinds of things I talk about. What do you get from working with a work life harmony coach and strategist? With coaches, with like what are even the differences of coaching and mentors, like all of these kinds of things. I feel like it can be really ambiguous. So I hope that this helps a little bit if you've kind of been thinking, something's missing for me, something like I feel like I'm missing something in my business that could be helpful, especially if you've only done group things in the past and you're really ready to step into a personalized experience that's centered around you and your goals. As always, we'll talk soon. I am looking forward to connecting and really understanding if you have like follow-up questions. Could you use more clarity on something I mentioned? Like drop it in the chat because I want this to be a two-way conversation as much as possible. And anything you share, like, is there something I could be talking about as a follow-up session that would be of most interest or more engaging for you, more supportive for you? Like that really matters. And as always, I'm going to continue dropping videos about supporting your work-life harmony at home and at work. Take care. Talk soon.